Dean Martin never got angry. He rarely raised his voice above a conversational baritone. He didn't scream, he didn't throw chairs, and he didn't lecture. He got quiet, and that silence was far more terrifying than any scream could ever be. In 1955, when a massive security guard put a heavy hand on Sammy Davis Jr.'s chest to stop him from entering the lobby of the Sands Hotel, Dean Martin didn't call the police. He didn't call his manager. He simply lit a cigarette, took a slow drag, and stared at the guard for 20 agonizingly silent seconds. Then he whispered a threat so specific, so calm, and so financially devastating that the guard didn't just step aside, he practically vanished. This is the moment Dean Martin proved that you don't need to be loud to break a bully. This is the story of the 20-second stare that helped crack segregation wide open on the Las Vegas Strip. To understand the weight of what happened that Tuesday night, you have to strip away the romantic gloss that history has painted over the 1950s. You have to look past the Rat Pack's tuxedos and champagne glasses and see the ugly skeleton beneath. In 1955, Las Vegas ran on gambling money and Jim Crow segregation. Black performers could headline the shows and make white millionaires cheer until the walls shook. But the moment the curtain fell, they couldn't drink at the bar, gamble at the tables, or use the guest restrooms. They were escorted through back corridors, past kitchens and laundry rooms, out the loading dock next to the dumpsters. Every night, stars like Sammy Davis Jr. were driven miles away to the West Side, a segregated neighborhood with unpaved roads, while their white friends slept in penthouse suites. The deal was simple. You give us your soul, we give you a check, but don't you dare think you're one of us. Sammy Davis Jr. could sing, dance, play drums, and do impressions that left audiences gasping. He was arguably the most talented entertainer of his generation. But offstage, his life was a daily ritual of degradation. Every night was a humiliation. Every night was a reminder that no matter how high he climbed, the ceiling was concrete. And watching this slow spiritual death was the only man Sammy truly trusted. The only man who looked at racism and didn't just get mad. He got disgusted. Dean Martin. Dean wasn't an activist. He didn't give speeches or march. But he had a code forged in the steel mills of Steubenville, Ohio, where he'd been a bullied Italian kid who couldn't speak English. He'd scraped his way up from bootlegging, blackjack, and boxing for $5 a night. In those trenches, Dean learned what mattered. You don't push the little guy around, and you stick by your friends. Dean didn't see Sammy Davis Jr. as a black entertainer or a cause. He saw him as Smokey, a kid brother, a genius. And when Dean Martin loved you, you were protected. Not with the loud, table-flipping fury of Frank Sinatra, but with a quiet, ominous shield. The kind that came from knowing guys who broke legs for a living and wasn't afraid to use that leverage. Dean watched Sammy endure the insults. He watched the light fade from his eyes. And on a sweltering Tuesday night in 1955, Dean Martin decided the show was over. The rules of Las Vegas were about to change, even if he had to burn the city down to do it. It was 8 o'clock, prime time. Valets parked Cadillacs and Rolls-Royces outside the Sands Hotel. The air smelled of exhaust and expensive perfume. Sammy Davis Jr.'s car pulled up to the main entrance. Usually, he would have gone around back to the kitchen dock. It was reflex, survival instinct honed by years of abuse. But tonight, Sammy was tired. Tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. He just wanted to walk through the front door. He wanted to feel human. He stepped out of the car, small and fragile without his stage persona. He adjusted his cufflinks, kept his head down, trying to be invisible. He walked toward the revolving glass doors. But the system doesn't have cracks. It has guards. A massive hand shot out and blocked his chest. The head of security, a man named Kowalski. Built like a vending machine, sweating in his uniform, enjoying his small taste of power. "Not here, Sammy," Kowalski grunted, loud enough for tourists to hear. "You know the rules, around the back." Sammy froze. He could see the golden light of the lobby through the glass. Freedom was 3 feet away. "I'm headlining," Sammy whispered, his voice trembling. "My name is on the sign. I just want to go to my room." "Doesn't matter," the guard said, crossing his arms. "Front door is for guests. Your help. Kitchen is that way." Sammy felt the eyes of white tourists burning into his back, shame rising in his throat. He was about to turn around, about to apologize for existing. But then the atmosphere shifted. A black limousine pulled up behind Sammy's car. The back door opened. A cloud of cigarette smoke drifted out. Dean Martin stepped onto the pavement, wearing a tuxedo that cost more than the guard made in a year. His bow tie undone, eyes half-lidded in that sleepy expression. But he wasn't asleep. He saw everything. Sammy shrinking, the guard's hand on Sammy's chest, the disrespect. Dean didn't rush. He strolled up as if he had all the time in the world. He stopped right in front of the guard, didn't say a word. He took a long drag from his cigarette, exhaled slowly, letting the smoke drift into the guard's face. Then he looked at him. This was the 20-second stare. Dean Martin locked eyes with the guard. Didn't blink, didn't scowl, just looked at him with a void-like emptiness. 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. The silence grew suffocating. Valets stopped parking cars. Tourists stopped talking. The only sound was the hum of neon and distant traffic. Dean just stared, stripping the guard's authority without uttering a syllable. Finally, after 20 agonizing seconds, Dean spoke. He didn't shout. He whispered. "You got a hand on my friend?" His voice like gravel wrapped in silk. "Is there a reason for that, or did you just mistake him for a coat rack?" The guard stammered. "Mr. Martin, it's the rules. Management says no coloreds in the lobby. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them." Dean nodded slowly. "You just enforce them." He reached into his pocket. The guard flinched. Dean pulled out a folded piece of paper, his contract, his $1 million exclusivity deal with the Sands Hotel. "You see this? It says I sing here. It implies I eat here. And it implies I choose who I eat with." Dean tore the contract in half. R.I.P. The sound was violent in the quiet night. He tore it again and again. Let the pieces flutter to the ground like snow. Now I don't have a contract, so I don't sing. And if I don't sing, the casino is empty. And if the casino is empty, the boys upstairs are going to come looking for who caused it. Dean leaned in close. "And when they ask me why I walked, I'm going to tell them it was you. I'm going to tell them you insulted my brother." He paused. "Move that hand, or I will buy this hotel tonight just for the pleasure of firing you in front of your wife." The guard turned pale. He dropped his arm, stepped back, and opened the glass door. "After you, Mr. Martin," he croaked. Dean didn't say thank you. He turned to Sammy, linked his arm through Sammy's, and patted his hand. "Come on, Smokey," his voice warm and brotherly again. "Let's go get a steak. I'm starving." They walked through the doors, and the Sands Hotel stopped. The moment they entered the lobby, the noise died. Slot machines seemed to stop ringing. Dice stopped clattering. 1,000 wealthy patrons fell silent. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. were walking arm in arm down the center of the red carpet. Dean walked with his head high, that lazy smile on his lips. He nodded to people. "Good evening. Hello, darling." He was normalizing the impossible. What happens in the next few minutes will force the Sands Hotel and the Strip to choose a side. They reached the Copa room. The maitre d', Luigi, turned pale. "Mr. Martin, I can't seat him in the main room. The owners will kill me." Dean leaned in, slipped a $100 bill into Luigi's pocket. "You got the best table open? The booth under the chandelier? Good. That's where we're sitting. If anyone gives you trouble, tell them to talk to me." Luigi seated them, center booth, visible to everyone. 10 minutes later, the hotel manager rushed to their table. "Mr. Martin, what are you doing? You know the policy. We have high rollers from Mississippi. They're threatening to leave if he stays." Dean slowly put down his menu. The smile vanished. "Let them leave." "Dean, those are whales. They spend thousands." Dean stood up. He towered over the manager. "Jack, listen to me very carefully. I bring more money into this casino in one weekend than those guys bring in a lifetime. People come here to see the Rat Pack, and the Rat Pack is a package deal." He pointed at Sammy. "If Sammy goes, I go. Frank goes, Joey goes, we all go. Tonight. We walk across the street to the dunes and tell the newspapers exactly why we left." He leaned in. "And one more thing. If you push me, I might just buy this place and fire you. Then I'll hire Sammy to run it." The manager turned white. He did the math. "Enjoy your dinner, gentlemen," he whispered. He turned and walked away. Dean sat back down. He winked at Sammy. "See? Easy. Now pass the salt, pal." That night, Dean Martin proved that segregation was a house of cards waiting for one man with enough courage to blow it down. He didn't give a speech. He didn't hold a sign. He just stared down a bully for 20 seconds and bought his friend a steak. But in doing so, he helped push the Las Vegas Strip toward integration and showed the world that true class doesn't see color. Decades later, Sammy Davis Jr. would write, "The world loved Frank Sinatra, but they feared him. The world loved Dean Martin, and they wanted to be him. Dean was the brother I never had. He was the only man who looked at me and didn't see a color. He just saw Sammy." That night, in the lobby of the Sands Hotel, Dean Martin didn't just buy his friend dinner. He bought him his dignity. And that is why, no matter how much time passes, he will always be the king of cool. This is Dean Martin Legacy Stories. If this story moved you, hit like, share it with someone who believes loyalty still matters, and subscribe for more untold moments of courage, class, and the secrets behind the Rat Pack. Until next time, keep swinging, pal.